Hi guys.
Hello.
Sorry we're so late. Um, just got tied up with some stuff. So why don't you take it away?
Sure. So tonight we wanted to talk about a few things that are kind of out there and cyclically kind of keep coming back up. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been meeting more and more people who have, either kind of jumped into the dating world a little later in life, after their 30s or 40s, or people who are experiencing, divorces or, losing a loved one or something like that. And, it's just been this cyclical thing that's kind of been popping up, in life. And we keep running into people who are just saying, like, look, I don't want to go back into dating. I haven't dated in years. I mean, literally like 10 years plus in some cases. And some people are just like exhausted and they're like, I don't even want to get back into the dating game. So it's been such a like a reoccurring theme that I think it was really a cool topic for tonight's, Nancy and Scott relationship. What do we call our videos, by the way? Like
Relationship talks.
relationship talks, yes. So anyway, so a couple things that I wanted to touch on is, in your 30s and 40s, right? Some things that you start to see. And I will say that in my late 20s, I even started to see this and it made me feel bad. But a lot of people were getting engaged, right? A lot of people were, showing things on social media and posting, and it was just like, I kind of had that ticking time kind of deadline in the back of my head, and I'm like, okay, I'm 30 something and I'm not engaged, I'm not married, I don't have kids. So I think that's a big thing that weighs on, people's minds, especially if you're in your 30s or 40s, that, I should be in a certain place at a certain time. Right? A lot of times, like I feel, and sometimes I used to get like very impatient because I'm like, I should be here when I'm here, and Scott and I both started kind of our own thing at different phases in life, right? I started my own business. I kind of quit my corporate job after 10 years and I jumped into entrepreneurship a little bit later in life, which if anyone else is in entrepreneurship, you understand that it does literally start you at the bottom of the totem pole, that you've got to kind of work your way back up. So it's definitely a journey. But anyway, do you want to add in anything?
Yeah, I think it's just everyone has a misconception about how old you have to be to have kids and to get married and get engaged. And sadly, the divorce rate is like 70%. So I'm not saying that every relationship is going to end up that way. But hi Marie, hey people that are just jumping on. But it's I don't know, like it's one of those things where it is a mindset thing. And if you end up, chances are, if you're dating in your mid to late 30s and your 40s, there's going to be kids involved. Most people have kids then, and as I do, and even if you are in your 30s and 40s and you're back in the dating scene, you have to prepare yourself that there's a very good chance that if you're going to be dating someone close to your age, that they're going to have kids. They may have been divorced, and it doesn't mean anything. There's two ways to think about it. You can focus on the person's past, which has already happened, or you can focus on the person for where they are right now, which is they're looking for something healthy and something fulfilling. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do the whole dating thing. But I think it's the more clear you are on what you want and what you deserve, the more you're going to attract that type of person into your life.
Absolutely. And, I did a bunch of cue cards. Like I had a bunch of things like lined up, but honestly, like this one for me, I mean, really hits home because, I had gotten, before meeting Scott, I had just gotten out of a 5-year long relationship. And I just resigned myself to the fact that that was it. I didn't want to date anymore. I'm done. Like, I'm seriously so happy if I just have my dogs and my cat and I'm cool, like that was it. But honestly, like there is so much more out there, and it's like people change, people grow, like everyone's on a journey. And I'll tell you what, like last night Scott and I watched this movie. It was called Life Itself. And if you've seen it, please comment in the chat box.
Great movie.
Or
Don't
let
listen to
us
Rotten
know. But
Tomatoes. It was a great movie.
it's called Life Itself. It was an Amazon Prime movie. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. The only reason why I actually watched it is because I'm a huge Olivia Wilde fan. I think she's just awesome. So anyway, I watched this movie, and the whole premise of it was about these multiple stories, and it was about different people. And the main story was a man and a woman that met each other. And it was just, God, it made me want to cry, because the guy was basically, she came up to him and she said, why don't you ask me out? And he was just like, I haven't asked you out yet because I know that when I ask you out, my life is over. Like, I love you. Like, I just want, my life is going to be changed when we're together because you will be my everything. And it's like, he just had this love for her and respect and everything. And again, a sad, love story.
Healthy infatuation.
But healthy infatuation. And that's kind of what they had, right? They had this amazing love story. And that's how the movie kind of starts. Now, I'm not going to ruin the movie
you got to watch it.
It's definitely intense, and it has some parts in it
Very
that
deep.
are like, holy crap. But anyway, it just talks about how people are on this journey in life and how everyone's story is different, right? And gets them to where they're going to go. And it really talks about family and how you, right? No matter what struggle you have in your day-to-day life, or, if you're dating or find someone or you're meeting people and whatever, it's like you are on this journey, and everyone's on their separate little journey, and some people come together and create this story, and it's insane what you can create when you meet and you find the right people to be in your life with you. And again, the movie's called Life Itself. I posted it on my Instagram, and just kind of posted some of my favorite quotes from it, but it was just really big. It hit home for me. I was definitely crying some ugly tears, but oh God, it was really, really good. And it just talked about how, life is so shitty sometimes. It's going to knock you down. You're going to be sad, but there's so much good if you just keep getting up and you keep powering forward.
Yeah, there's a quote by Les Brown that says, you may get knocked down, but if you can look up, you can get up. And that's what the whole thing is. And, Nancy actually asked me the other day, personal development is a choice. And I really feel the most successful relationships are the ones where people are really committed to improving themselves and for the relationship. And that's not to say that, a relationship is going to fail if you don't. But what I can tell you is that when you want to work on yourself and you want to become your best self for you and your family, it just takes the relationship to another level. And again, what I really took away from this movie is that life is short, and you don't know when a curveball is going to be thrown at you, but nothing is that big of a deal. And we put energy into things that either become big deals because we're putting our energy there, or we're putting our energy into the things that mean the most to us, which is spending time with the ones that we love, laughing every day, all of those things. And, you guys might think this is complete horseshit, or you've heard it before because it sounds so cliche, but there's going to be a time in your life where something is going to happen. And you're going to have to look in the mirror and you're going to be like, holy shit, life is so much more. And I don't know what that thing's going to be. For some people, it's a divorce. It's a loss of a family member. It's a medical diagnosis for them or someone that they love. It could be a tragedy. Whatever it is, don't wait for something to force you to turn the mirror around. Just decide, you know what? I'm going to live the best life possible now. And Nancy actually asked me, she goes, if somebody wanted to get started with personal development, where should they start? This was a really hard question because what I've learned in all the coaching that I do is that you have to be ready to dive into personal development, to dive down that rabbit hole, because once you start, you don't stop. And it's just like, and I used an example. I said it's when an alcoholic will only quit drinking when they're ready to. They have to hit their rock bottom. If someone is overweight, you can't force them to go on a nutrition plan or to the gym forcefully. They have to be ready for it. So you have to be ready for personal development. You have to be ready to improve yourself. So if I was to recommend one book and one movie for people to start with, I would say The Shift by Wayne Dyer. It's on YouTube. You just type in The Shift by Wayne Dyer. It's 2 hours. I recommend it to anyone, and it will literally shift you by the end of the movie, whether you like it or not. And the book that I would recommend is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a very easy read. It's not too long, and it talks about really the only time that we can control, which is right now. So for those that are in personal development, you haven't read that book or you haven't seen that movie, go do that. For people that are interested, and listen, you may think personal development is hokey and granola-y and tree huggish. It's not. It's actually the best form, one of the best forms of therapy out there, because I believe that people should go to a therapist, because that's exactly what it is. It's therapeutic, but it's also therapeutic to fill your mind with positivity and positive reinforcement instead of the shit that's on TV. All like the crime and this and the, I love like SportsCenter. I love ESPN, because all they do is highlight awesome things that happen. Like they have like the top 10 plays or the not top 10, which ends up being just funny things. But they always have a Sunday conversation, and they always spotlight someone that's doing amazing things. And I think this last week they had this quadriplegic head coach of high school, no arms, no legs. And this guy was like one of the top high school coaches wherever he was. And I think the title of the SportsCenter segment was called Everything is Possible. And it just goes to show you that everything in life is possible. Finding the perfect person, having a great relationship, all of those things, and Janine says, haven't watched TV and other sports in over 4 years. But, I mean, sports is a great thing for me. But what I can tell you guys is that when you start diving in, you should be reading or listening to something every night before you go to bed. Even we sometimes read books to each other. But we always do a positive reinforcement guided meditation every night before bed. And there's just all these little things that you can do. Oh, where the hell?
Yeah, I know. We just totally veered off of no, but I love that though, because it's real. It's kind of what we've been talking about. And, to Scott's point, we've been talking about the word grit a lot lately. And if if any of you have ever heard of the word, or maybe curious, it was called everything. There was a study done, and these scientists or someone was trying to figure out what made a person have grit, which is, the grit to accomplish what they want in life, right? It could be this perfect relationship. It could be this perfect job. It could be getting through, to start this business and entrepreneurship. And what they found, it didn't matter what a person's background was. It didn't matter their age. It didn't matter where they came from. It didn't matter wherever. It's this perfect combination of passion and perseverance, right? It's someone who has that growth mindset. And just like Scott mentioned, right, it's not everybody has this growth mindset, and not everyone understands exactly what a growth mindset is. And, Scott recommends, and this is exactly our conversation. This is the conversations that we have at the gym in the morning, right? We're sitting there, Scott's lifting, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if we were to literally skyrocket someone into having a growth mindset or helping them understand why it's important for self-development, what videos, movies, or books would we have them watch, right? So Scott started thinking about it and shared exactly what he just shared with you guys, which is The Shift and
The Power of
Now, right? So those are a couple things that you can watch that are going to like help you get there.
Well, then Nancy asked me, she goes, how did you get started? Because it was a really interesting question because it's been so long, I forgot. But I remember, my enrolling sponsor when I got started, I didn't do any personal development until network marketing. Plain and simple, network marketing is a personal development journey with a compensation plan attached to it. That was absolutely the catalyst for where I am now, and I thank network marketing every day for that. Because I started listening to Jim Rohn, I started listening to Robin Sharma, I started listening to Simon Sinek, I started listening to Tony Robbins, like Les Brown, like every day, Jeffrey Combs, who was my business coach at the time, and I started listening to all these people, and I never bought books. The last book I read before personal development was the first Harry Potter. So it was a long time. But once you uncover how much potential each person actually has inside of them, because our limited thoughts and beliefs are what keep us broke, keep us unhealthy, keep us negative, all of those things, when you start really thinking positively and you start thinking prosperously. And the thing we talked about today was, we're looking for places to get a new house. And we want to be in a location where there's like a lot of growth going around and growth mindset, but good people, because your circle of influence is everything. If the circle of influence around you just sucks and it's people that have a negative mindset, they're Debbie Downers, they have, broke mentality, they have bad relationship with money, that is going to seep into you, and you are going to become what you hang around most often with. So you have to be really careful of your time.
Yeah, that's very true. So
now back to relationships.
Yeah, now we're going to get back to what we originally started. So
you can't let like, if you're going to lead this, you have to lead it, because I will go off.
I'm sorry. But no, it's all good stuff. It's like real stuff that we really talk about, though. Like, I'm not even kidding you.
We all related back to the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so really quick before I get back to the 30s and 40s thing, is my first moment that I realized that, I had developed a growth mindset, which please just look it up. If you think you have a growth mindset, you might, but if you aren't sure, please look it up of what it is. But what happened to me is, after being in the corporate world for about 10 years, I, decided to kind of do my own thing and everything. And it actually happened when I was dating Scott, and I had started reading some books, and I was listening to a Simon Sinek YouTube, it was a TED Talk that he did. And as he was talking, I seriously, something in my head just went off. I was like, I thought that before, or I feel that way. And my leadership experience, I know that. I relate to that.
The golden circle.
Yeah, he was talking about certain things that I totally was just like, wait, I felt this way before, and I know this already. And wait, I am capable of having, some pretty, prolific thoughts and things like that. And it made me realize that, holy crap, the more I read, the more I learn, the more that I do, and the more the effort that I put into developing myself, holy shit, the better that I can become. And it's like, oh my God, it like a little timer just went off, and it was like a little chicken, like one of those little timers that you put in the kitchen, and just went ding. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. And it was game on. And it was literally I just tried to learn as much as I could about certain things. And for those of you who have ever listened to Earl Nightingale, at first it might seem a little creepy, but Earl Nightingale is so cool.
The strangest secret.
The strangest secret, and one thing that he talks about, is that if you do something for 1 hour a day, right, every single day, you eventually, right, even I think he said in 3, 4, 5 years, you will become an expert, right? You will know everything enough to be an expert. And so if you just think about that, and just from a growth mindset standpoint, let's say you do have a busy job, you have a 40, 50, 60 hour, a day week. 1 hour a day, right? And this could be your peace, right? This could be your time to actually just kind of disconnect from your normal everyday and just read, listen to an Audible book, right? Watch something that's educational and developmental. Go ahead.
Thank you. So 3 things that I love about Earl Nightingale from The Strangest Secrets. Besides his voice, he's got the most therapeutic voice.
It's a little weird.
No,
like,
it's
old.
it's therapeutic.
It's so old.
It's very therapeutic. So go on YouTube and just search The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's about a 34-minute audio. It's great. Number 1, he says, what you think about most often is what you become. So if you think about, I'm a loser, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life, and you have these thoughts every single day, you are programming your mindset to focus on just that, and you attract what you think about.
That's true.
So if you start focusing on other things, what you think about most often, you think about being successful and being happy and loved and giving love and receiving love, that is what you become. He said, number 2, ideas are free. And he said, if you just take time each day and you write down 5 new ideas, you grab a note card and you write 5 ideas down. He goes, over a year period, you will have close to 1,600 ideas of how to make yourself more money. And he said the law of numbers will be in your favor, that at least one of those is going to bring you more income. And the third thing he said, and I'm forgetting right now, because it was on my mind. Come back to me. I'm going to interrupt you, so come back to me.
Okay. All right. So going back to our original topic, because I promised we'd circle back, is dating in your 30s and 40s. Okay.
Oh, I got it.
So
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Whatever your goal is. So like if you wanna make $400,000 this year, you take a note card and you write down, this year I am going to earn $400,000, and you carry that note card around you wherever you go, and you read it multiple times a day. You grab it, you read it out loud, you fold it back up, and you stick it in your pocket so you can see what you actually want to achieve. Nancy, back to you.
All right. Yeah, no, it's so true. And honestly, like, yeah, it's so true. Because I was actually just taking a course on like how to build your email marketing campaign. And they stopped for like a whole like 10, 15 minutes in the beginning of the course. And they were like, write on a note card how many emails you want to have, and every day I want you to look at it. And it's so true. Like we got to stay like focused on our goals. So this is how I'm going to connect it back into our top, right? So dating in your 30s and 40s. What do you want in a life partner?
Type in the chat box. What do you guys want in a life partner?
What do you want in a life partner? These are things that you could put on your note card, right? Like, what do you want in a life partner? I will tell you.
What did you want?
Before dating Scott, I was single for a little while, and, it just, I was dating, but nothing serious. And I took time for the first time in my entire life since I started dating and actually wrote down, I made a list of what I wanted in someone, right? Someone who loved music, just like I do, right? Someone who was funny, someone who was intelligent, someone who was kind, someone who was caring and generous, and someone who I was physically attracted to. So, there were multiple things on my list that I never just took a minute to really just, give much time and effort to. But I sat here and I wrote down on my list, and I'm like, these are all the things that I would love to have in a partner, and I deserve that, right? Like, I deserve that. I'm a good person. I'm caring. I'm loving. Like, I feel that I'm a good person. I just need that good person there, as well. And, lo and behold, I download Bumble, and here comes Scott. So anyway, it's important for everyone out there, whether you are in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, I don't care how old you are. Okay. It's not too old. And I don't want to hear you saying, ugh, I don't feel like dating, or I'm too old for this, or I'm too whatever. More common than not, and it is sad, but the statistics are true, that so many people are getting divorces nowadays. And, it's over 70%. Even like second marriages and third marriages, actually third marriages have the worst divorce rate. But the thing is so many people are getting a divorce, and so many people are in the same exact situation, feeling the same exact way. And there are good people out there. There are reasons why relationships fail, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means they're bad people for each other, right? There are people who just don't mesh, right? And like Scott was saying earlier, you know, people more and more like have already started families. They might have children. They might have, you know, other things going on in their life that might make it a little more difficult dating in your 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, but it's still okay. And there's actually awesome people that you can find in that mix. So, you know, I was talking earlier that, you know, even though you're seeing a lot of engagements, right? You're seeing a lot of people getting engaged for the first, second, or third time, right? And then you're also seeing babies.
Actually, we're equal on that.
These little, no, anyway, these babies, right? Lots of babies popping up everywhere, right? Lots of children. And, you know, I don't have any children yet myself. You know, Scott has a son, but like, I don't have a kid. So it's like, I do feel, right, at my age, I'm starting to kind of, you know, get older, and I might feel that I should be in a certain place, you know. And no, but I do feel physically, you know, like, you know, I don't have forever, and this is very true. So, you know, don't feel bad that you see that. Like, everything happens for a reason. And I really do feel like, you know, if you don't have a child yet, or maybe you don't want to have a child, that's okay, right? No matter what stage of life that you are in. If it's meant to be, if it's the right thing, it'll happen. You know, there's never a good time to have a kid. In fact, that's the joke, is like, you know, when is planning. You can't wait forever to have, you know, the perfect moment to have a kid. There's never a perfect moment. It's just, it happens and you figure it out. Stop feeling like you're too old, okay? And I'm not going to say names, but I have some family members who feel that, oh, you know, they're 58 years old and, you know, 59 years old, and they're feeling like, oh, they're too old, right? And they can't start new things, or they can't date new people, or they can't get remarried, or whatever. It's not true, okay? In fact, I read an article the other day that the new midlife, you know, the new middle age is 55 years old. You know, that's the new middle age, that, you know, people are living longer than ever. People are realizing, I mean, we have so many baby boomers out there. And I took a class in college, and I'm super passionate about gerontology and, you know, people aging. And it's like how we treat people in the USA. Like, I honestly have such a respect for wisdom and age. I mean, I think we're better people. The older that we get, the wiser we get, the more emotionally mature we get, the more we kind of, you know, like, I see some people at the gym who are just like, I know you know stuff, right? Like, some people are just kind of very observant, and I just love some of those attributes and some of those things that come with age. I mean, it's kind of always been a passion and a fascination with me since I was little. But anyway, you are never too old. Moral of the story. Okay. And then the other thing is you worry that you're not going to find a quality person. All right. You're worried that you're getting older. You're not going to find a person of quality, when I just told you that some of the most fascinating, wise, wonderful people are people who are 35, 45, 55, 65 and older, right? It's these people who have lived life and who have seen things and experienced things and who have been through things. I don't care what you went through in high school. I don't care what you went through in college. I don't care what lessons you learned or what kind of person you became, or what kind of like things that you went through. People, the older they get more interesting, and they get more quality, right? Like, they just get to be better people. And if you're not, then okay, you're, you know, mixed there in the mix of things. I mean, I was telling Scott, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule. Like, you know, women who are trying to date in their 40s, right? 80% of the guys out there, and no offense to anybody, but 80% of the guys are probably going to be crap, like, for you. Like, they're going to be people who, you know, just want younger girls. They just want, you know, a certain type of person or whatever. And that's what they're all about, right? And then there's going to be the 20% of guys who are actually like quality. They want a life partner. They want someone who's mature, who's been through life, and who is loving. And, you know, we've spoken to so many people who have given years of their life, right? Okay, years of their life. We're talking like 6 years with someone. and they never got married, they never got engaged, they never had that commitment from that other person, yet they were the most kind and giving person.
So let me just say something. So like, it's easy for Nancy and I to say this now, but looking like, none of us can rewrite history, and we were, both of us we were in long relationships. You know, I was in relationships for 2 years. I was in a relationship for 6 years. I was in another relationship for almost 2 years, and then another one for 3.5, 4 years. What? You knew all this. This is
yeah.
And like, you know, like we talk about now that, like, you know, and you hear people say that you should know within the first 6 months if you can marry the person, like, get out if, like, you don't see yourself wanting to marry that person.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to say that now, but we understand that when you're in it, you know, when you're in the relationship, you know, there's a sense of comfort, but there's also a sense of fear that, you know, if it doesn't work or if I leave, I have to start all over again. And the process of getting into a relationship, I mean, it's not an easy one. No one I think when we're younger, we like the dating game because, you know, we're young and we want to meet some people and have some fun.
People are dispensable.
Right.
Yeah,
but like
whatever.
when you're older, you're like, the dating game sucks. You don't want to go to bars and, like, you don't want to do those things.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then, you know, if you end up being single at a later age, you know, 30s, mid 30s, or late 30s, early 40s, you're like, shit, like, how am I ever going to find someone? And listen, you know, when I got out of my last relationship, you know, I was just turned 30, 38, almost 39, right? I'm going to be 40. And how old was I when we met? 30.
You're almost 40. Did you get out of your last relationship at 39?
No, 30. I was 38. I can't.
Is there something I don't know?
So anyway,
Yeah.
I was 38, and, you know, I was single again, and that was a scare. And you know, I have a, you know, at that point, like, a 4.5-year-old son, and it was a scary place to be because, you know, again, I had to start the process over, because it's one thing when you're dating older and it's just you know, like that could be a challenge in itself. And then you have another person with you. You know, I had a family coming with me. So, you know, I even said to Nancy the other day how grateful I am for her for, you know, taking all of me in, not just me, but my son. And, you know, she loves us both, and it's an amazing thing to actually have, because it's a very rare quality. I remember before I met Nancy, you know, we were on, like, dating sites or whatever, and I had this woman say to me, you know, she said that the fact that I had a kid was a deal breaker, and that's, you know, it stung. Like, it definitely hurt, because, like, I don't want to ever had to think of my son as being a deal breaker, but it just wasn't the right person for me. And everyone has someone that will love them for exactly who they are and whatever they're bringing to the table. And that's the one thing that my therapist always told me. And she always said to me, Scott, you are enough just the way that you are. Someone is going to love and appreciate and honor you for exactly who you are. You don't have to overcompensate. And Nancy had a list of what she was looking for. For me, what I was looking for was someone to treat me the way that I treated them. Because I mean, I'm not going to, like, toot my own horn, but I'm a good guy.
You're a great guy.
I'm a great guy. You know, she's my queen, and I do as much as I can for her, you know, whether it's cleaning up toilet water that's leaking into our condo. That's another live we'll talk about. Or just, you know, getting her flowers on a random day, or doing the dishes or laundry, whatever it is, you know. But she treats me the same way that I treat her, and that's And it's just a very, very special relationship, and it is one of a kind. And we were talking about it the other day, and I do believe that everyone has that one of a kind relationship out there. And don't feel like you're settling. Don't be fearful that if it doesn't work out, that it's never going to work out for you, because everything in life is possible if you want it to be.
It's so true. And it's like, I go down right to the last thing. Sorry, I'm trying to preserve, the rainforest here. Wait. Quality. Okay. So I go down
God.
right here. So trust, right? So these are things, people usually feel, right, in their 30s and 40s dating. They feel too old, they can't find quality people, and they can't find people they trust. So like Scott said, if you feel like you're, with someone who doesn't vibe with you or doesn't, give you the same respect or the same love, please realize that if you're not going to marry this person, or you're not going to want to be with them the rest of your life in the first, what you said, 6 months?
I mean, you should, if you're committed, I mean, older wise, when you're older, within 6 months, you should know if you can see yourself marrying that person.
Yeah, and at least being with that person. And I will tell you, like, honestly, like, hands down, I really believe, I keep coming back to the 80-20 rule, is, you're going to face so many people that you might be tap dancing around this relationship, right? You might be like, ooh, okay, we get along sometimes and we argue sometimes, and it feels like a red flag here and there every once in a while, right? But it's like, there are people out there who are right for you, right? Scott is so right for me. And it's like, it kind of brought me to tears the other day. And again, like, for any of you who were on here earlier, we were talking about the movie Life Itself, and it's on Amazon Prime. And if you haven't seen it yet, this movie really, it was emotional, and it was, very like,
you'll cry.
Yeah, it pulled some tears out of you. But anyway, the whole thing is there are some relationships that are just so special, and there's some stories and love stories that are so special. And it's just like, so many of us, and I see so many couples in relationships that are just crap. And I hate to just say it, but like, from the outside, it's like name calling and jabbing and disrespect and just constant, like, ugh, it feels icky to be around them, and it's like, it could be better. You could be with someone and you could have that communication, and you could actually put the time and effort into making it a good thing, right? You can have that care, that love, that everything for each other. And guess what? If you're not in that right now, stop wasting your time, because you're holding that up, and you're closing that door to being open to anyone else.
Well, you never want to look back on your life and say, what if?
Yes.
I know it's cliche, and you guys might think it's a bunch of shit, but everyone takes full advantage of every day that we're given. Every day that you wake up, I feel like the human body, to me, is one of the most incredible things that has ever been created. We breathe without even like knowing. Our heart beats all the time, automatically. Like, we get a cut, our body heals it. Like, we like all of these things that we take for granted, like, every single day. I'm sorry, like, it may sound very cliche, but if you wake up tomorrow, like, you've already won. All the other shit that you see out there is what you're focusing on. Like, choose your focus. Choose the life that you want to live, not the one that other people, like, it's just amazing to me how influenced some people are in living a life that they think they should be living by what other people are telling them. Like, what I could tell you is, Nancy and I, we beat to our own drum. We are a two-man band. Like, literally, we're playing every instrument. And it's the best place to be, because we're both psychologically unemployable, and we also have a deep rooted passion for helping others. Like, literally, our entire day is spent talking to each other about how we can create things to solve people's problems. That's all we're doing. Like literally, can we create this document for this? How can we get a shortcut for that? How can we create a program for this? Like literally, our entire days are filled with how to create solutions to help other people. Like even like when you were talking about that thing that you were looking at, the dating coach or whatever.
Oh,
whatever it was. Like I'm like, we could totally teach people how to date.
no, it was funny because there's a website called angel.co, like angel.co, and it's jobs for like freelancers or people who are looking to like help startup companies. And I told Scott, I was like, it's insane how many companies are out there actually helping people date and like helping with relationship advice. And it was
not
like,
Millionaire Matchmaker, that's TV.
No. It wasn't TV, but it was like little sidekick programs for people who were online dating. And I wanted to write a blog when I had started online dating and just dating in my 30s. I wanted to write a blog because I thought it was hilarious. Like it was so funny at the different things that I was experiencing. It was like there's ghosting, you know, people who just like totally fall off the map. There are people who are, yeah, it's just like weird people that you go on dates with. And, you know, there's just different things that you encounter. And I just think it's really funny. But, God. Yeah.
We both just want everyone just to be happy.
Yeah.
Like this is, even though everyone is affected differently by life right now, I just want you guys to understand that no matter what economic situation you are or are not in, we are living in one of the most prosperous economic times that you will ever experience in this world's history. There is so much opportunity, there is so much abundance out there, and there are so many resources for all of us to achieve and live the best life possible. The fact is, Nancy and I would have never, ever met if it wasn't for the invention of this. This is how Nancy and I met. And now with the creation of Facebook Live and all of this stuff, Sarah agrees, that this wouldn't even be happening right now. So what you guys all need to know, that any of these relationship videos that we do, they can be applied to any and all aspects of your life. The relationship with yourself, the relationship with your kids, the relationship with your spouse or your partner, your family, your friends, your business. Just really live with no regret, and do not displace your own personal frustrations of where you may not like to be in your life on someone else. It is not fair to do that. Nancy always says to me, everything is figure outable. And it's the truth. There is a solution to every single problem in our lives. But the fact is that so many people don't speak up. You don't ask for help. So if there's something going on and you need some help with something and you want to improve something in your life, just ask. Everybody has someone in their life that they can reach out to and say, hey, can I ask you something? Or I need help with something. Can we talk about it?
Yeah. And I keep going back to, God, there's such a blessing for those of you out there in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s that are single. There's a blessing, in being single and having that time for yourself. And there got to be a point where, in the time that I was single, that I seriously came to the conclusion that I'm like, you know what? I'm really happy with myself, and I got to know myself, and I got to really spend time loving myself and building confidence that I had never had before. And, when I asked Scott, I was like, what's the thing about me that you love the most? And you know what you said? Do you remember?
There's a lot of things I love.
He said
about you.
My confidence. He actually
really
said my confidence in myself and who I am as a woman. And
I mean, as a guy, ladies, the sexiest thing about a woman, other than their bodies, is a woman's confidence. And from day one, when our first date, she was very, very confident in who she was and how she was living her life. And one of the biggest turnoffs for men is a woman that's not confident in who they are. They're always talking badly about themselves. They're, like, I mean, listen, everyone has their moments where they don't really like something.
Like, I look fat in this.
Yeah,
or
whatever it is. But
yeah.
like, she just is so confident about herself and who she is. Like, she doesn't give a shit about what other people think.
And you know what? I'll be honest with you, and I will tell everyone out there. I mean, this is just my personal experience. But honestly, like that time that I was single and by myself, I basically filled my own tank so much that no one else could knock it down, right? Like if that person who came along, let's say I dated, this person, and that person didn't like me, I was so comfortable with who I was, and I had filled my own tank up so much that I was like, you know what? I'm a pretty freaking awesome person, and I love who I am. And if that person doesn't love me or like me, that's okay, and that's an okay thing. And I found someone who appreciates me for me, and who is, okay, let me go back to that card, who is a quality person, right? Not someone who's just about looks or who's just about this. Because, we all have our days, we all have our things, we all have our moments when we're not our best or whatever. But, it's important that when you actually do land on that person and that you're, someone you want to be with, it's going to be that person that really is that quality, who loves you for you and is in it to win it. And, whether it's ups, downs, all arounds, is going to stick with you. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. But if you are in your 30s, 40s, dating, where to meet them, we already talked to you. Bumble is like our number one. That's where we met. But Bumble is a dating app. The woman has to make the first move. So I love it that it's not so creepy. And, guys, what you're really looking for is true connection. No more bullcrap relationships where you're just hooking up with this person or you're just hanging out with this person. Let's have a true connection. And if you really mesh with someone, you can talk and God, you can laugh with them, okay? And have great relationship conversations and great conversations.
So funny. She said to me the other day that it took me a couple months to hatch from my shell. She said
his hard candy shell.
I was super serious in the beginning. I don't remember being super serious. But she goes, it took you a couple months for your goofiness to come out.
Yes, it's true. Seriously.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were serious guy. Serious Bumble guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But she still stayed around for me to break out of my hard candy shell. We're still here.
Yes.
Guys, thanks for joining us. I know this ran, 47 minutes. I mean, this was going to be a quick one, but
we went on. We went on.
But either way, we will see you guys next Sunday for another relationship talk. And we're going to try to put some structure around this. Like, we're going to try to pick
reel it in.
Like just a time each week. We're not like randomly popping on. So we're going to make an announcement of like the structure of how we're going to do these moving forward. Because I require that.
Yeah. It's very true.
I think you do too.
Yeah, I do too.
Yes, structure is key. So anyway, we love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.